Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. The other night I was able to watch the Royal Rumble, 1992. I watched it right there off of the WWE Network. This is a very famous, very historic Royal Rumble. I know that it's one of the most watched ones when people are trying to get hyped up in order to watch the Royal Rumble on pay-per-view every year. Everybody always talks about the 1992 Rumble. I don't think I'm going to be surprising you guys by talking about this as the Rumble where Ric Flair wins the WWF Championship for the first time in his career. Basically, the Royal Rumble was made into an event where basically the championship was on the line due to back-to-back pay-per-views ran by WWF with phony false finishes between the Undertaker and Hulk Hogan in the main event. Those, of course, being the 1991 Survivor Series and also Tuesday in Texas, which was the I guess you can say sort of test run of the In Your House series, where basically WWE would be having a non-traditional style pay-per-view. The show's on the WWE Network. If you've never seen it, it's only like an hour long. The shows were dirt cheap. I want to think the pay-per-view was maybe $15, $20 at max. The event really didn't work to the point that they thought it was going to. It came off days after the Survivor Series. Pretty much like if the Survivor Series, I think, was held on a Thursday because it was traditionally on Thanksgiving. This was only like 5 or 6 days later, however many it is, from Thursday to Tuesday, on a Tuesday. And it was just, WWE already got their money for the 1991 Survivor Series, but they thought if there was a championship match involving Hulk Hogan and a rematch for the championship, I think they thought they would be able to hook him in for another one. Basically, Undertaker beat Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series 1991. Turned around, Hogan beat Undertaker at Tuesday in Texas. But basically, Jack Tunney thought that the championship needed to be upheld, and basically told Hogan and Undertaker they would both be able to compete in the Royal Rumble, and they would be given random numbers between 20 and 30 because they were the number 1 and number 2 contenders going into this. They thought that was about the fairest way they could do it, to where nobody was really getting pissed at what they were doing. And so, basically that was the hype up of everything that was going down for the Royal Rumble. Just like from there, they went right into the Royal Rumble. They interviewed Shawn Michaels before. It turns out that the Shawn Michaels heel turn on Marty Jannetty and the Rockers was just days before this. It's kind of surprising because when I watched Rumble 93 tonight, they have a match on that card, so it's kind of surprising that feud was still going strong a year later. I know that Marty left for a good time at the WWF, and then he came back, so maybe that's how they kept it fresh, but keeping Marty off television. But the Shawn Michaels was going with his new sort of boy toy gimmick at this time. The show kicked off with DiBiase and the British Bulldog coming down. DiBiase always gets screwed in the Rumbles. He's always number 30 or number 1. But this time he comes out at number 2. British Bulldog dumps him out pretty early. From there, Ric Flair comes out at number 3. And then you just got a long list of guys come out who fills up the ring. You got Jerry Sags, Haku, Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, the Barbarian. Texas Tornado came out. He wasn't in this for that long, but he's always one of my favorite guys. Repo Man, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Nikolai Volkov. Even with all these guys coming in here, nobody really that big. Boss Man, Hercules, just guys coming in, guys getting eliminated, some guys hanging around for a little while. But the first real big pop of the night is when at number 15, Roddy Piper comes out. I don't know if this was basically due to the fact that the championship was on the line, so you want to have the biggest names you got out there. Piper wrestled earlier in the night, and they don't really use guys more than once in the Rumble. It's either you have an undercard match or you're in the Rumble, and Piper got to do both, which was pretty fun. He hung around for a long time in the match before being dumped out later by Sid Justice later. But from there, it really starts to fill up with the big names. There's a lot of guys at the bottom didn't really mean anything, but Roberts, Duggan, IRS, Jimmy Snuka. Number 20 ends up being The Undertaker. and Undertaker, who just been champion at their Survivor Series before being stripped of it at Tuesday in Texas. He's a guy that people are really looking at, coming in to do some damage. He's followed by Randy Savage. The Berserker comes down. You might think, why are you going to talk about the Berserker for a little while? But basically, from watching Wrestling Challenge and Wrestling Superstars, the Berserker is a guy that would wrestle on these jobber shows. He would win every match by picking guys up, throwing them over the top rope, causing a count out. And, not many guys won by count out, and this guy won his jobber matches by count outs, by throwing guys over the top rope. So how was he not a favorite to win this deal? As a kid, I honestly thought the Berserker had a great shot at winning the Rumble. Surprise, surprise. From there we go to Virgil, Colonel Mustafa, Rick Martel. Hogan comes in at 26, Skinner, Sergeant Slaughter at 28. He had just been champion at WrestleMania, winning it last year at the Royal Rumble, beating Ultimate Warrior, but surprisingly, he's still not really a favorite, didn't really last in it that long. Sid Justice, fresh off coming from WCW. This is his first run for the WWF. He came in at 29. Warlord was at 30. The final four, when the Rumble was going on, it built all the way down to basically being Flair, Sid Justice, Hulk Hogan, and was it Macho Man? I think he was the Macho Man. Son of a bitch. Who was the other guy? Yeah, Savage was the last guy in there, I'm pretty sure. Savage, he gets thrown out by Justice and Flair teaming up, leaving the final three, Hogan, Justice, and Flair. Basically, Hogan and Flair are fighting, and it looks like Hogan's trying to find a way to dump Ric Flair over the top rope to leave it just to be the two big guys in there. Sid Justice sort of sneaks up behind, even though that Hogan is his buddy, and dumps Hogan over the top rope. And even the WWE Network, they always say they have the original footage. Sometimes they put the Coliseum video up. Sometimes they put something that they've produced either for 24/7 or for a DVD or something else down the road. The footage is a little bit doctored. If you watch this back in the day on the live pay-per-view stream, before it went to the Coliseum home video, the crowd goes bananas. Even though there have been a few title changes somewhere along the way, Hogan dropped the belt to Andre for a little bit, setting up the WrestleMania 4 change with the Macho Man Randy Savage, which led to Hogan getting it back and then holding it all the way until he lost it to the Undertaker, and then the Undertaker got it back. But the fans were pumped that they knew they were going to see a new champion. They might not have been booing Hulkamania, but Vince didn't like this, and he went into sort of patch mode to try and clean this up a little bit, and you can totally tell that you can't hear the fans when Hogan gets dumped out. But from there, it's down to Sid Justice and Ric Flair, and Hogan's on the outside, and he's doing his politicking, and he's bitching and complaining to the referees that he shouldn't be on the outside because his buddy dumped him out. And basically, he reaches out and he grabs Sid Justice's hands, and Justice is sort of shocked at what's going down, and Hogan starts trying to pull Justice over the top rope to the point where Ric Flair comes over, and he just picks up Justice by his legs and flips him out over the top rope, and Ric Flair becomes the champion. He goes into the back, he gives one of the greatest wrestling promos that everybody remembers, with a tear in my eye. He's there. Heenan's going bananas. It's probably, I didn't even talk about Heenan on commentary. This is probably one of the best shows just to watch because of Bobby Heenan on commentary. This is probably A+ work by him. He did a lot of great stuff over his years. Wrestling Challenge, Wrestling Superstars, Primetime Wrestling. Him and Gorilla doing just about anything. He worked well with a lot of other people. But on this show, what's fair to Flair? And getting Ric Flair the championship, because he is the executive consultant, I think is what his title was at the time. It worked, and it's gold. This is a great show. I honestly highly recommend you go check out the Royal Rumble 1992. Maybe fast forward to the actual Rumble match and not watch the undercard that much. But I think even if you don't have a WWE Network, I think just the Rumble itself is on the Bobby Heenan DVD. It shows you how great the commentary is. But check this out. You'll enjoy it. I loved it. Peace out, everybody. Have a good night.